Hello there and welcome. I'm Kate in a nest, or probably more realistically this afternoon, I'm Kate in the garden. I wanted to keep you in the loop about how I'm going on my new quilt that I started, and I think I've just done one episode on this. It's another flower to flower, sort of one flower at a time, but I'm using a different method, and so I thought I'd talk you through what I have done since my first share. So I had this beautiful vintage, I think this was a single blanket, and oh gosh, there's all sorts of things. See, this is truly a bowerbird's nest, because before too long I would have been saying, where are my pink scissors? And I pinned that piece. So look, this is your entertainment value for the afternoon. I'm hoping you are well, and thank you for joining me. Have I actually stitched that? No. Just as well I discovered that. And there's an Inktense pencil there that's shouldn't be there. So what have I, sorry, I should start again, but I don't want to bore you. I'm just so happy to be down here. Okay, so I started with this vintage blanket. It was square, it was quite large. I think I shared the same size as my first really big flower to flower quilt, and I've since cut it down. So I left without this much detail done, but I'm really happy. It's going to, I haven't put my bird down, but this is going to be a story quilt about, of course, the garden and flowers and all those things that we find in nature. Here's the garden path, and there'll be a bird, which I've been having so much fun sorting, actually, my little bits out. But the biggest thing I wanted to say is that I could work and work and work this one, but I wanted to start the next block and show you. And out of that thinking process, I've actually going to do something quite different with this quilt. I've gone ahead already and joined block 2, and I'm going to work from top right hand corner. And so my previous quilts I've done block by block, but this one I want the garden to grow, which is quite funny. I mean, it will grow, but from right to left. So so where am I up to? How did I do that? Well, if I sneak under here, I just slip stitched the 2 blocks together, and my theme is this tablecloth, which this is a corner piece of the tablecloth, and then I want to feature cut work. But up here on the second block, it's not going to join up because the table, it was a supper cloth, so it was much smaller. So I want this line of the original one, I hope this is making sense, to go on, but not to be perfect, because it can't. So I've got this gap where the middle part of the original tablecloth is only this long. So I've placed it in the center of panel 2, sort of approximately. You can see that whereas the first one covered the entire block, this part only covers the center, which means I've got to fill in each side and also grow down. So what have I got on here so far? And it's not perfect, and it may not stay. So I've used a little piece of pink dyed linen up there, and I did that you know, a while ago, but I'm thinking that my other quilts have always had rough edges and then been bound, so I don't know what I'm going to do, but I don't want this to strike people as a line that doesn't join and looks messy. Of course it will look messy, so I'm just experimenting for the moment with a plain piece with color, and it may be that a trim unites all the way around. I don't know. So I've been fossicking and harvesting in my nest, and I found this large piece. You see, it's all creased and but beautiful, and I want to use that, like it's like an arc, to join back in. So we might look at the centered this join for a little bit. So my idea this time is, rather than do the blocks then separately and then put them together and then work the joins, I'm going to make it join as I go. So it doesn't worry me yet that I can see the blanket through there, but I'm just starting to echo. So this trim, which is a beautiful vintage one, I'm echoing up here at the moment. I wanted to leave the doily lace on. This one didn't have any doily lace as such, but I still have pinned in place this beautiful vintage crochet doily. The main piece you may or may not have seen before. This was originally in a different rotation on the Blossom quilt, but I cut it off, as I often do as part of my process, and I'm enjoying the challenge. I think that's what, as I was doing this earlier, I was thinking, this is what my brain is really enjoying, that I have a garden and now I am literally designing the garden as I go, with that concept always in mind. You know, where is the garden going and growing? And I've just seen that bit there. So here we go. This is old sheeting. That was on its side, but I sort of, I don't want to, okay, so maybe it just has to be smaller. So patchworking, cutting bits, and always that variety of texture and colour and stitching is what I love. I was also thinking, it's like, I'm not very good at putting flowers in a vase. But I do, it's like that same feeling, like, where will this flower go? And so we're getting that feeling of continuity. So anyway, while I do this and chatter away, I hope you're stitching along, because I'm still standing up, so I better sit down and just keep working or gardening. So I put those down there. Down here I have quite a lot of texture, and I suppose the other part is not getting bored with a piece. So there's all sorts of opportunities here already for me to embroider, so I might do that. Down here in this corner, I'm not sure yet, but I've got applique here. So I suppose I'm using again the warm tones, aren't I, with, you know, every now a pop of colour. I've got my favourite little bit of chenille quilt in there, and I will echo, I've got little bits of that as well. So to keep the story going, I'll probably have a little bit of the different texture of that over there. And so my plan is, I'm going backwards, block 1, block 2, and block 3. So I'll have them as a long panel. I think I'll work on these two for a week more, and then add panel 3, and then I'll stitch it like a panel very long and skinny, and multi-directional. So it may be that this ends up being the top left or the other one. Do you get what I mean? So I'm just, yeah, trying a new method is probably what Kate is trying to say. And I'm looking at that and thinking, yeah, okay. So I have buried them. Those scissors are going to make a noise. So what project are you up to at the moment? I know everyone's very busy in Stitchy World. I had the time earlier today to watch some YouTubes, and it's just so inspiring, and it makes you want to stop whatever necessary housework has to be done. But I actually am getting somewhere in my studio. I was joking that I'm like maybe in a year I can show you, but I'll set a I could set a goal. All right, what do I want to do? I've got this beautiful, I just better check. Is this in the center? Yeah, look at that for a garden. I've got, this is pink perlé, and I've got some stranded, and I've also got some golden cotton somewhere as well. So I thought we might, in fact, I'll do it with this one, which is variegated, and I want to join, I haven't invisibly stitched any of these down yet, so this is going to be straight into, which means I should pin first. I've got everything in a different position, so I might need to move those pins. I will. Tuck that little end in. And you might be noticing and thinking that's weird. There's this other aqua, and that's from the original blanket that the blossom was on. So obviously that will not stay there like that. I thought we might do is just do some big applique stitches there. And then we'll do a running stitch that we can see. Around here. So this is a beautiful pink rose embroidery. And I have been sorting my my doilies and crochet out today, so I think that's what's inspired me to leave these beautiful edges on. So it's already Tuesday here. Week is flying. We're in another cold, snappy time where not only is it cold, it's going to get rainy as well. So I'm not looking too far ahead, but my husband says, Kate, it's one of those weeks where you just want to be snuggled in the house, and luckily I can. Although on Thursday I'm going to Sydney to see my mum. I haven't seen her in a while. She's already told me that she's got, what she got for me this time? Zippers and something else. So that is always wonderful. I'm also going to the dentist, so I'm seeing Mum first. That will give me the love and the courage to face the next part. I was thinking I might have enough cotton left to get to the corner of that applique, which I can. I'll just test this. It's okay. I don't like stitching on, you know, the fabric from these, but in this case it'll be okay. Oh gosh, that's too big, so let's make that into a cross. Yep. See if it was done on purpose like that. And we'll do one more because things go in uneven, odd numbers. There we go. Oops. This side. So because this will be a quilt, definitely, I've got the blanket, and then I'll back it and then quilt it all the way through. So not particularly worried about whether I come through the back, but mostly it's just the top layers. Okay, so that bit's done. Maybe I need every time I rearrange, I end up putting my pin cushions and pins in different places. And then I'll forget. Okay, what else have we got? This one here. I thought we might do some embroidery in here. And we might pick up this brownie bit down here. Hope you can see. I mean, maybe it's better that you can't see it because it's not great. I've doubled this because I'm finding, again, you know how much I love using wool, and in fact you can see my journey because this is all wool, the rest of it, and that's because of the thickness and the variegation. But I'm finding if I double the perlé, and I could probably get thicker, but I haven't got it, I like that effect. So it's a contrast of the wool now and these other probably more traditional thread painting threads. It does go through it much quicker though. I find I like it because I don't get bored. Like, I know that sometimes we're meant to be systematic and do all the browns at once. Like, what is that? When you colour in, colour by number. But I like changing. And I'm going to finish that off with one French knot on the end. Just because. So it's a little bump getting scratched by pins under here. But I am getting better at tying knots at the end, back of my work. Oh, look what else I found under here. Hook and eye, anyone? Okay, I was sure I had threaded up. Yes, I have. Look at this now, what a mess. I've also threaded up some variegated gold. I think I might like to look at this area here. I'm going to have to work on that little bit there, but I'll pin it. It's that beautiful vintage textile that's all taggy and raggy. I've got that on my heart that I need to finish. So where was I thinking? I thought I might go up here into these little flowers. Aim for the, yep. Oh, this is only single, so it's just oh, excuse me. I'm just adding interest. And I'll go up to this one, and then we'll eventually get to the top. Like that. Oh, excuse me, I've got a tickle. Lost the end. And then, looks a bit ungainly, but I'm just going to do some stitches here. What else is happening? Oh, I probably talked about that before. Let's just get back in the world of stitching, Kate. It is part of my fun as I do this to look at all these pieces, like look at that in my favorite colors and just think of the person who stitched that and where they were and how long ago was it, and you know, what are the chances that one day someone would go, oh, I did that, or I did that same pattern. I thought jumping all around, I thought I'd show you some of the other pieces that I've collected for this quilt. Because I mentioned last time that there's going to be a bird, at least one bird, on every block. Probably a little premature to be putting this piece on a fabric, but seeing we're here. can always harvest it. I will be beading and using some gold in this, I think, as well, because that's where I'm up to in my stitchy journey. Slow going here, but they're the bits that sort of a me in a way. They're rough and raw and not neat. So we join that like that, and so all those flowers now go together. I'm itching to get some cotton into that area there, so we'll see what I've got or how long this is. I'm trying to one-handedly find where I have my beautiful little stash of things that I'm going to use. Put them somewhere where it's so special I can't find them. Oh, here's a little pile. Not really. Yes, there are. Look at this. I think I've shown you when I got this from the sewing basket or some other thrift store, but that'll be, I think, on the center. But isn't that gorgeous? And then I've got a collection of vases, and look at this one. It's or a basket. It's got a little thing in there for a treasure to pop out. I've got, so I'm stretching a long way. I should have not started this because everything could come falling down. And I've got a lot of this that I got on my recent trip as well. So that's just a little sample, but lots of little harvested stories. And see, anyway, I won't go into that because I want to put it down. Okay. I've only got this on there. Could I? No, not enough to get some French knots out of that. And you know what? I think I will pause there because I need to just look at this. I want to do embroidery here, but I also want to see what goes up there. And I've got this fabric, and I mustn't bury it. Look, I've got some, you know me, everything is thrift, trims and treasures and trinkets. So that's the other thing I'm bringing to this, that I've got lovely vintage trims that I would like to start using more in my quilts as something that's worked in. Some rosettes and things as well, maybe. Anyway, it's all wonderful fun. Do not lose that cape. Okay, I am going to leave you and say thank you so much for joining me. I hope your stitching is making progress, whatever project you're onto at the moment. I'm just trying to get you a nice shot to leave you with some flowers for the rest of your day. This is Kate in the Nest. Until next time, thank you. Bye.